Hello, 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 brothers and sisters. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It is dinner time. Come on in, sit around the table. We have plenty of food tonight. We have plenty of soul food, so you could get your fill tonight. Just come on up to the dinner table. It's dinner time, family. It's dinner time, friends. We got a good topic to discuss this evening. My brothers and sisters, bring some of your friends along. Invite some of your friends to dinner because we have a good show this evening. I'm going to give a few more people an opportunity to come into our dinner tonight. Because you invited my brother and sister, invite some of your friends to dinner. We got plenty of plates so they could come around. It's a big table so they could sit with us and enjoy tonight's meal. We're about to get into it. How you doing, Sister Flo Harvey Martin? I see your John haircut down there. How you doing, sister? How you doing? Come on in, brothers. Come on in, sisters. It's dinner time. If this is your first time and opportunity looking at this particular show, my brother and sister, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Tony M. Toomer, and I talk about relationship. When I talk about relationship, I talk about the relationship of that between a man and a woman that should be serious, committed, and move towards the covenant phase of the relationship. How you doing, mother? I see your John haircut down there. So come on in, brothers. Come on in, sisters, so we can get into this good topic this evening. And when I talk about relationships, my brother and sister, I primarily talk about the relationship of that specifically between a man and a woman from a biblical standpoint. When I say a biblical standpoint, when you go to the book of Genesis, it's documented that the first man was Adam, who God created. The first woman was Eve, who God created. He had a unique relationship with the man first. Secondly, he had a unique relationship with the woman. He represented the woman to the man. As you know the story about God got the rib out of Adam, and he caused Adam to go to sleep. Then he took the rib out. He formed the woman and brought the woman back to the man. And at that point, Adam said, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, I should call a woman because she came from man. Now, if you believe in any other type of relationship, my brother and sister, you have what is called a free will. You can do whatever you choose to do. But I invite you to share dinner with us this evening, brothers and sisters. I want you to be able to digest some of this stuff that I'm going to talk about. How you doing, Sister Sherry Smith? I see your John Hancock coming in. How you doing? Sister, how you coming in? And with that said, my brother and sister, we are about to have a serious discussion at the dinner table. And if you all want to say anything along the line, go ahead and share your thoughts and your feelings about this topic. But we're about to get into it. Tonight's topic is, does God want you to take your mate back after infidelity? Again, does God want you to take your mate back after infidelity? I will answer that question shortly, okay? I will answer that question shortly. Now, tonight's show, my brother and sister, tonight's show, how you doing, Sister Danielle Barnett? Tonight's show, my brother and sister, this is going to be a very, very difficult topic. It's going to be very difficult for some of you because some of you couples, you have had a reality check. Some of you couples, you have experienced infidelity. When I say infidelity, it occurs when a man and woman is primarily in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship. Okay? So it's two ways when it comes to infidelity. Now, if you are single and dating someone single, it's really, if you look at it from a biblical standpoint, it's not infidelity. If I call it from a biblical standpoint, it would be called fornication, okay? If I use that. And then if I talk about married people, infidelity actually means adultery. So if you're not married and you're in a relationship with someone and you have, and if sex is a part of your relationship, if you're single, from God's point of view, it's not making love. It's not getting some. How you doing, my little sister? God calls it fornication when you're not married. And I know about fornication because I used to do it quite a bit. Now, and then when you're married, it's called adultery. Adultery is when you having a thing with someone other than your spouse, my brothers and sisters. That you understand? That's what adultery means. When you going outside the marriage confinement and you're dealing with someone else, primarily of the opposite sex. So this is going to be a very difficult topic tonight because some of you brothers and some of you sisters, you have tasted infidelity. You have really tasted infidelity. Some of you brothers, some of you sisters, you have tasted. If you haven't tasted, there's a strong possibility that you will taste it. Okay? There's a very strong possibility that you will taste it. Let me tell you something, my brother and sister. I'm going to say this more than probably one time during our dinner time, okay? My brother and sister, before you get married, I want you to realize that. Listen to me carefully, okay? Listen to me. Don't hear me. When you go into a relationship, brother and sister, when you go into a relationship, you have to go into a relationship from a realistic standpoint. I know you don't want to hear this part what I'm about to say, okay? But you need to be aware of some things, okay? First off, brother, the woman that you're going to get married to, first and foremost, she is a human. Sister, the man that you're about to get married to, if you're planning on getting married to a man, you got to understand that he is a human. Brother, the woman that you married to, she has a sinful nature. Sister, the man that you're about to get married to, he has a sinful nature. That's why it's very critical that God is in your relationship. Now, if God in your relationship, does that mean that a man or a woman will not commit infidelity? No, it doesn't mean that, because God still does not take our free will away. So there still is a possibility that it may happen. So, brother, sister, when you go into a relationship, you got to realize that it's a possibility. That's not saying it's going to happen, okay? Brother, that's not saying that your woman going to go out on you. Sister, that's not saying that your man going to go out on you, but there is a strong possibility that it can happen, okay? So don't go in thinking that nothing can happen to you. Don't ever go into a relationship thinking that you are an exception to the rule. Brother, you're not an exception to the rule, or sister, you're not no exception to the rule. Things happen because of the sinful flesh of man and woman. Now, the question is, and I have talked about this a little before in the past, the question is, who cheats more? Do men cheat more, or do women cheat more? That's the question. Who cheats more, the man or the woman? What do you think, brothers and sisters? Who do you think cheat the most? Do you think men cheat more or women cheat more? Give me a little feedback before I can get into this topic. What do you think? Just if you think men cheat more, put men in the comments. If you think women cheat more, put women in the comments. I'm going to give you a few seconds. Don't be bashful, my brother and sister. Go ahead and let me know your thoughts. Do you think men cheat more, or do you think women cheat more when they're in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship? I see at the dinner table, you all don't want to conversate on this particular topic, so I go with it. Now, the question again, who cheats more in a relationship? Sister Flo said men cheat more, okay? Anybody else, who do you think cheat more? Do you think men cheat more or women cheat more? Sister Flo started off, she giving us her opinion. So what do you all think? Because I'm going to tell you, after you make your comments, I'm going to go to, I'm going to start talking about statistics, okay? My mother said men cheat more, okay? No problem with that. Okay. Now, according to 2022 Infidelity Statistics, and this guy named Ryan Hart, he did research on this topic. Ryan Hart, and this is a recent statistic, okay? One study found that 20% of married men have cheated on their mate, their spouse, at least once in the relationship, compared to only 13% of married women. Listen to this. Again, one study found that 20% of married men have cheated on their spouse at least one time in a relationship, compared to only 13% of married women. That's from a statistical standpoint. So Tashara said men cheat the most. Now, the top 10 adultery statistics. These are the top 10 adultery statistics. 20% of married men have cheated on their wives. 13% of married women have cheated on their husband. 40% of adults that cheat on their spouse became divorced. Over 60% of cheating women say that their partners are more attractive than their lovers. Check that out again. It said over 60% of cheating women say that their partner are more attractive than their lover. That means that their husband or quote-unquote boyfriend look better than the man that they cheat with, but they still cheat. 89% of cheating women report that the men that they cheat with make them feel more, here's it go, they make them feel more appreciated than their significant other. You see that, my brother? Brother, listen to this. It said 89% of cheating women, this is the reason why 89% of women say they cheat on a man. They cheat because these other men, they make them feel appreciated than their significant other. So, brother, you all know I always say give your woman attention and time and stuff. I always preach that, do I not? That don't mean she won't step out, but it will lessen the blow. Only 30% of cheating men say that they have a mistress who are younger than their current partner. Check that out. Only 30% of cheating men say that they have a mistress or a side chick who are younger than their current partner. So that means that men would like to cheat down at a younger age. 80% of younger people that participate engage in sexual talk online with someone besides their partner. This is you jumping in people's inboxes and all that kind of electronic thing where it goes down, especially on Facebook, it goes down in the DM. 75% of adults believe an emotional relationship with another person is considered unfaithful behavior. Check that out, my brothers and sisters. They say that 75% of adults believe that emotional relationship with another person is considered unfaithful behavior. And I really believe that. What does that mean? That means that, brother, if you are married, those of you that plan on getting married, or if you're married, if your woman share more of herself emotion with another man, that's cheating. Sister, if your man share more of his emotional need with another woman, that's cheating. Because you know that this, my brother and sister, most men and women, I have always said this, they think that cheating happens when the sex go down, but it always happens before the sexual part. But that's what we think about initially when we say infidelity. It's basically about the physical need, the physical lust of a man and a woman. It said 24% of unmarried couples reported engaging in sexual talk online with someone besides their partner. That means that a man and woman that say they go together, one of them or both of them are having sexual online communication with someone else other than their partner. 75% of married Americans think that marital infidelity is always wrong. That means that 75% of married Americans think that marital infidelity is always wrong. That means that 25% say it ain't nothing wrong with it. If you want to do it, I guess you do it. If you got an open relationship, you could do it or whatever, you know. Now, my brothers and sisters, if you are planning on getting married, or if you are currently married, I'm telling you this reality check again. You must be aware that there is a strong possibility that infidelity may happen in your relationship. I'm not trying to scare you away, brother, from getting married to a woman. Sister, I'm not trying to scare you from getting married to a man, but you got to understand there's a possibility that it could happen. So before you get married, don't go into your marriage thinking that your mate will never do anything. The only thing you could hope for, my brother and sister, that it doesn't happen. How you doing, Sister Cynthia? So that's the only thing you could do. You could just hope that it doesn't happen. Now, what is infidelity? Infidelity, my brothers and sisters, it is defined as a violation of a couple's emotional and sexual exclusiveness that commonly result in feelings of anger, sexual jealousy, and rival. Understand that? Again, infidelity is a violation of the couple emotional and sexual exclusivity. Now, what does lust mean? Lust means having a strong feelings of sexual desire. Lust is derived from, lust come before infidelity. Okay? Now, where does lust come from? Where does lust come from? According to psychologists, lust is a psychological force producing intense desire for something or circumstance while already have a significant amount of to desire object. It can take many forms. So lust is more than sexuality. It can also be money or power, but we're focusing on the sexuality part of lust. Now, that's what psychologists say. But what does God say about lust? According to God's word, lust is in the heart of man and woman. It is both in the thought and the action. So we're going to come from God's point of view. All of this stuff, God say it takes place, it's a sin. But God said it takes place in the thought and the action. You, brother and sister, you already know that I say this. It takes place in the mind or heart of a man or a woman. Before anything happen on the outside, before anything get exposed to other people, it takes place on the inside. And you all know I always use this illustration, and I'm going to use it again. You cannot stop a bird from building a nest. You cannot stop a bird from flying over your head, but you could stop a bird from building a nest. The bird flying over your head represents a fleeing thought. A bird building a nest on your head represents you're thinking and you're contemplating and you're going to put into action. That's what it means. Now, according to Matthew 5:28, Matthew 5:28, Jesus made a compelling statement. Jesus said, "But I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully have already committed adultery with her in his heart." That also means for a woman, if a woman look at a man and she looks at that man in a lustful way, she also commit adultery in her heart. Now, adultery happens when a woman and a man is married, not when a man and woman are going together. It happens when a man and woman is married, and it goes back to the heart. Remember, the heart is where your thoughts take place, okay? Your mind and your heart and will, it works collectively together, okay? Your heart is known basically for the feeling, but it derives from that feeling called adultery is like a passionate sin. Now, my brother and sister, if you are in a relationship with another person, if you are in a serious, committed, and covenant relationship, if your mate commits infidelity or adultery on you, what do you do? What do you do? Do you hold it against him, sister? Brother, do you hold it against her? We're going to see about should you forgive a person for doing something like this. This is a couple thing. Should you forgive a man or woman that commit this crime called infidelity? Peter asked Jesus a tough question. You all familiar with the Apostle Peter. He asked Jesus a tough question about forgiveness. So Jesus answered it in this way. Now, bear with me, my brother and sister. I'm going to read to you what Jesus said, okay? I'm going to read to you. This is in Matthew 18, 21 through 35. Again, it's Matthew 18, 21 through 35. Matthew 18, 21, 35. It starts like this. It say, then Peter came to Jesus and asked, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sinned against me? Up to 70 times. That's what Peter asked Jesus. He asked Jesus and then he gave Jesus an answer. So Peter asked Jesus a question, then he answered it for Jesus. So Jesus listened to the question and then he listened to Peter's answer. Again, Peter said, ask Jesus, Lord, how many times shall I forgive my brother or sister who sinned against me? Or you could say, my husband or my wife, if he or she sins against me. Up to seven times. That's what Peter said, up to 7 times. 7 times equate to a week. Jesus said this to him, my brother. So this is what Jesus said. I do not say to you 7 times, but 70 times 7. That's what Jesus said. 70 times 7. Now, what is 70 times 7? Let me go to my calculator. I'm going to put 70 times 7. That's 490 times. Can you, my brother, and you, my sister, imagine forgiving your mate 490 times? Will you be keeping the score on your mate 490 times? Did Jesus literally mean 490 times? No, Jesus did not literally mean 490 times. Jesus was using that as an illustration. What Jesus was saying that you should continue to forgive. Now, I know a lot of you brothers, a lot of you sisters say, I'm not Jesus. I can forgive, but I sure can't forget. My question before I go on with the rest of this story, my brother and sister, let me ask you a question. Brother and sister, if you have a relationship with Jesus and you know you mess up all the time, you mess up quite a bit. I mess up a lot of time. I mess up quite a bit. I go to Jesus myself and I ask Jesus to get a word to God the Father. Because you know we have to go through Jesus to talk to God the Father. You can't directly talk to the Father, my brother and sister. You can't bypass Jesus. You got to go through Jesus. That's why when you pray, you have to say in Jesus' name. So to certify, and Jesus turn and talk to the Father. Because Jesus sit on the right hand of the Father. So if God the Father is sitting here on the throne, that means Jesus is sitting on the right hand side. You understand? Jesus is on the right hand side. So Jesus have to turn to the left and talk to the Father. How you doing, Sister Yolanda? Okay. Now, Jesus go on to tell a story. This is about forgiveness. It say, therefore the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who want to settle accounts with his servants. This is the story that Jesus using. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who wants to settle accounts with his servant. In the process, one of his debtors was brought in who owed him millions of dollars. That's you and me, brother and sister. Owing Jesus millions of dollars represent sin. But as he was not able to pay, you understand that, my brother and sister? He was not able to pay. And I'm not able to pay for our sins, can we? But remember, the $1 million represents sin. So it's collection time. The king wants to collect, which is Jesus. But he or we are not able to pay. Sorry for that technical difficulties. And his master commanded that he be sold with his wife and his children and all that he had, and that payment be made. But the man fell down before his master and begged him, please be patient with me, and I will pay it. That's how you and me, brother, go in front of Jesus. Please, Lord, please forgive me. I owe you $1 million, but I can't pay you. I catch you Friday. But you know you can't pay on Friday, right? So what happened? And the master of the slave felt compassion, and he released him and forgave him his debt, his sin. But that servant, guess what the servant did? When the king forgave him to pay that $1 million, he said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I'm going to let you start off fresh. Don't worry about it. So the man got up happy and everything, right? Or we get up happy, right? And what happened? But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, man against man, woman against woman. But we talk about relationship between a man and woman. Let's say that husband or that wife went out. You got forgiveness for God for whatever you messed up on. Now you got to deal with your mate. And this is how it goes. But that servant went out and found one of his fellow servants who owed him 100 darians. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat and said, pay me what you owe me. That's how men and women do. You go to God for forgiveness, but when you dealing with another human being, you don't want to forgive him. Just like the Lord forgave $1 million to you and me, brother and sister, we want to turn around and hold our mate or whatever hostage. And we say, you owe me. I don't care what. You better come up with it. And he took him by the throat and said, pay me what you owe. His fellow servant fell to his knees and begged him, said, please be patient with me and I will repay. That's the same thing we do, brothers and sisters, when we go to the Lord. We beg and plead and say, I'm sorry, but we don't have in our heart to do the same thing that God did for us. Okay? And the story goes on. But he refused. He refused to forgive. He said, no, you paying me. You're going to pay me before Friday. You're going to pay me right now. But you forgot. The Lord forgave you. The king forgave you. But you forgot about that in a short period of time. You got off your knees and now you demand justice, right? Instead, he went off and he had the man thrown in prison until he could pay the debt. Now, you're doing wrong. You done threw that person. You got that person in bondage. You punishing that person. You, brother, and you, sister, you punishing your mate because he or she messed up. So you going to punish them. But did Jesus punish you? You see, I told you tonight's topic going to be tough. This is going to be some tough stuff. Now, when the other servants saw what had happened, they were outraged. And you know what they did? They went and told their master everything that had happened. This could be like angels or something, going to tell God, you forgave him, but he didn't forgive his wife, or she didn't forgive her husband. So they go back and report it to the Lord, right? Then the master, after he had called him, he called me, called Cinderella, or called you, brother, or you sister, the wife, or the wife and the husband, vice versa. And then the Lord called and said, you wicked servant, I forgave you all the debt because you begged me. Should you not also have one compassion on your fellow servant? That's your mate, my brother and sister. That's what we're condensing it to. Just as I pitied on you. And the master was angry. God be angry, my brother and sister, when he forgive us and we can't forgive anybody. He get angry. God have emotions, my brother and sister. His master got angry. And what happened? And he delivered him to the tormentors until he should pay all that was due. So why did I tell you that story? I told you that story, my brother and sister, because anything we do wrong, we want God to forgive us just like that, don't we? But some people say, I'm not God. I'm not Jesus. I can't do that. Do you understand the gravity of this story that I just said? The Lord forgive you. But if you can't forgive another man or a woman, anybody, God can withdraw and punish you with what you deserve. You want somebody to punish. You want to mentally or emotionally or financially punish somebody because you think or you felt that they did you wrong. And it might be true. But on the flip side, you did Jesus wrong. My brother, so let me tell you this. Jesus cannot fully forgive you unless you fully forgive another person. And as you know, I'm talking about the man and the woman. A lot of men and a lot of women will find this particular type of teaching difficult when I'm talking about. I'm endorsing to forgive your mate for infidelity. I'm going to answer that shortly. Does God want you to take your mate back after infidelity? I'm going to answer that shortly. Brothers and sisters, do God want you to take your mate back? Now, this is hard for the natural man and it's hard for the natural woman to forget and forgive. And it's very difficult for two believers to deal with something like this. Now, my brother and sister, God will forgive. God will forgive, my brother and sister, but guess what? There's still going to be consequences. As it is written in Galatians 6:7, Galatians 6:7, Galatians 6:7, it said, be not deceived. God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. A lot of time, brother and sister, when we do wrong and when we go to God and say, God, I'm sorry for doing that. You know what a lot of us be trying to do? We be trying to outsmart God. We think that we putting some over on God. A lot of time when a man and woman go to God and say forgiveness, they're praying, but they want to avoid the consequences. You understand? You pray to God because you said, God, forgive me. So it equates in a man or woman mind. If I ask God to forgive, nothing ain't going to happen. I know I did wrong, but nothing is not going to happen. It don't work that way, my brother and sister. When you sow to the flesh, you reap the flesh and death. When you sow to the spirit, you reap life and peace. You understand? Now, God will forgive you, my brothers. God will forgive you, my sister, but he's not going to set his law or sowing and reaping aside. For example, you all know about this when David committed adultery with Bathsheba, right? He had Bathsheba's husband killed. But God forgave him. God forgave David. But even though he forgave David, David had to suffer consequences. Because the prophet told David, he said, the Lord have put, you see, David knew he had done something wrong. When David knew he had committed adultery with Bathsheba, this is what David said. I committed a sin against God. He didn't say he committed a sin against Bathsheba. He acknowledged that he did a sin before God first. And what did that prophet tell David? David, the Lord have forgiven you. However, you're going to have some consequences based on your action that came from your heart and you put into action. What came from David's heart? David lusted after another man's wife. That's what got him. He lusted after another woman, the lust that led to infidelity. That's how we call it infidelity, but the Bible called it adultery. So David still had to pay for what he did wrong on a natural level. He was still saved, my brothers. He was still saved, my sister, but he had to pay for his violation. Now, some people say, I thought that if God forgives you for your sin, he washed them all away. He does wash them all away. That means that he's not going to bring it up to you when Jesus come to get you. But in the meantime, whatever you sow, you reap. You got to understand it, my brothers and sisters. Now, the thing about sowing and reaping is this. If you do something against, brother, if you violate your wife, there is a possibility that you may lose her. Because she might not forgive you. That could be a consequence for your action. Sister, if you do that against your man, there's a possibility that you may lose him. That's a consequence because you had to reap what you sow. Because he may not forgive you. That's the issue. He may not forgive you, but God will forgive you. But you made your own, you put yourself in that situation, brother. You put yourself in that situation. So therefore, whatever you sow, you reap. It may not happen in a short period of time. It may take years down the road for you to get it if Jesus doesn't come. My brother and sister, we always reap what we sow. All of us. Even me, I know a lot of you don't believe that nothing happened to me. If I ever do anything wrong against my wife or you, brother, you, sister, I hurt God first before it affect you, my brother, you, my sister. It always hit God first. So when we do things wrong, you think God smile when we do wrong or something. A lot of us, we have caused God to weep. We have hurt God. That's right, my brother and sister. Just think about it. All of us have grieved God in his heart. All of us have caused God pain. Do you think God smiles when we put our hands in the cookie jar? No, he doesn't. We hurt God. But glory to God, his son Jesus paid for our past sins. He paid for our present sin, and he paid for our future sin. I need to tell some of you brothers and sisters this. Listen to this. When you do something wrong against God, some of you brothers and sisters, you have to forgive yourselves. A lot of you brothers and sisters, you go to God and ask God for forgiveness, but you won't forgive yourself. You got to forgive yourself. You know the reason why a lot of you brothers and sisters don't forgive yourself? Because you don't realize it, but Satan be talking in your ear. Satan be talking in your ear and say, you ain't that good. You know you're going to keep messing up. And you keep going to God, talk about, I'm sorry. You're going to bust hell wide open. That's a spiritual thing on the outside of you. Spirits move around you, brother and sister, what you don't see. You have angels moving around you that you do not see. I ain't trying to scare none of you all tonight. So some of you, I might need to stop because it may scare some of you all when I tell you what's going on around you. But I'm going to tell you anyway. Brothers and sisters, you got to be aware of this. The spiritual world, it overlaps the physical world. The spiritual world can see us clearly. The spiritual world operates around the physical world. What do I mean by that? Angels be walking around us. We don't see it. But if you are a daughter or son of God, you feel their presence. And not only do you feel their presence, you feel the Lord's presence in you. You could sense something going on around you. If you got God's spirit, you can tell that an evil spirit is around you. Because when you go to God and ask God for forgiveness, you're supposed to leave it there. So when you get off your knees and tell God you're sorry, but then in your mind, you can't forgive yourself, that's Satan or one of his angels keep throwing that stuff back up in your mind. You got to understand what's going on, brother and sister. God forgive you. But Satan is just like a prosecutor in court. If you go to court, let's say to my brother and sister, if you go to court for a crime, let's say that Jesus is your attorney. Let's say that God the Father is the judge. Jesus is your attorney. The devil is the prosecutor. What is the prosecutor's job? To get your butt in jail. To get you in the electric chair. That's the prosecutor's job. That's the position the devil comes from. In the court session, the lawyer, he tried to get you off of what you did. It's not saying that you didn't do it. Because a lot of times you talk to your lawyer, you tell your lawyer that you did it. But your lawyer found a way to get you off the hook. That doesn't mean that you didn't do it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but your lawyer know. That's why it's confidential. But the prosecutor wants your butt to go to jail. That's the devil position. So why am I telling you that? That's just like how it is on the spiritual world. Jesus is representing you, my brother and sister, before God. So when Jesus represents you before God, remember Jesus died and he shed his blood. So his blood covered us. It does not mean that we never did nothing wrong. But Jesus covered up our past, present, and future sins. So brother and sister, you got to forgive yourself. A lot of you don't be aware that you are allowing the devil or his angels that you can't see. They be whispering stuff in your ears. You can't see it and you think it's your own thoughts. So you got to forgive yourself, my brothers. You got to forgive yourself, my sister, so you can go on. Sometimes we mess up, brothers and sisters. It might not be what I'm talking about tonight, infidelity, but it could be anything that goes against God's word. But we're talking about infidelity tonight, right? Now, does God want you to take your mate back after infidelity? Here's the answer. Here's the answer. And this is a tough answer. As it is written in Luke 6:37. Luke 6:37. Luke 6:37. Jesus made this statement. Jesus said this: judge not, and you shall not be judged. Condemn not, and you shall not be judged. Now here the key part. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. You see what Jesus said? Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Again, that's Luke 6:37. The back part of it, Jesus made a statement to you, brother, and me, sister. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. That's the key. You got to forgive, brother. You got to forgive, sister. If you don't forgive, you holding God's hands. You got God's hands locked. He want to forgive you, but you won't forgive that person that you felt did you wrong. So, brother and sister, this is very, very tough. This is very, very tough topic. I know, brother, I know. Let me say this. Let me say this. In closing, if you are planning on getting married, brother or sister, or you are already married, you're currently married, here go the reality check again that you must be aware of. And that is, there's a strong possibility that infidelity or adultery will happen in your relationship. I just gave you some statistic, my brother and sister. There's a strong possibility. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. Adultery or infidelity, where does it start at? Again, Jesus telling us where it started. Where did Jesus say it started at, my brothers? Where did he say it started at, my sisters? Jesus said in Matthew 5:28, we're going back to that, 5:28, Jesus said, but I tell you that anyone who looks at a woman lustfully have already committed adultery or infidelity with her in his heart. And the same thing goes for a woman. So, brother, let me tell you this. Before your woman get physical with another man, it happens on the inside of her first, her thoughts, her heart, before the man penetrate her with his penis. It happened on the inside of her first. Sister, before your man penetrate a woman's vagina, it happens on the inside of him first. Now, when it happened on the inside of the man or the woman first, that's the heart. So, infidelity, my brother and sister, it is a process. It don't just happen like that. We are able to, let me tell you this, my brother and sister, with every temptation, and we're not talking about the group for more time, with every temptation, God will have a way for us to escape. But majority of the time, we prefer to go ahead with it. That's just like this, my brother and sister. Let's say this. Brother, sister, you are married, right? And you're in a situation where you're going to go meet someone, okay? You have a decision to make. While you in your car, you thinking. Before you get there, you already thinking. Once you get in your car, instead of the bird flying over your head, the bird has started building a nest. So when you get in your car and you're driving, you think about what you and the person going to do when you hook up. This going on the inside of you. And while this stuff going on the inside of you, my brother and sister, the Spirit of God could be saying, don't go. Don't go. Don't do it. When you want to pick up that phone, sister, when you want to pick up that phone and call Tyrone, the Spirit of God said, don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to have that thought. If you got the Spirit of God, you're going to have that thought, don't do it. But you're going to weigh that thought aside. I'm going to call Tyrone. Move, God. Move, God. Leave me alone, God. I'm going to call Tyrone. I got to talk to Tyrone. So God's Spirit keeps saying, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or brother, you want to call, who you want to call, brother? Who you want to call? Who do you want to call, brother? Who is God telling you not to call? You want to call Maria, don't you, brother? God's Spirit said, don't call Maria. Don't call Maria. Don't call Maria. But you said, God, let me alone, God. I got to call Maria. I got to see what's going on, God. Yeah, God, I got to call Maria. So you call Maria. So all this taking place in your thought. So your thought tell your hand to start touching the phone, brothers and sisters. Your thoughts now. It's putting it into action. So you calling, you texting to make that arrangement, right? So you put into action. Your thoughts are going into action. You get in your car and you're riding, but the Spirit of God still saying, don't do it. Stop. But you ready to get it, right? You ready to get it, aren't you, brother? You ready to get it, sister, right? So you're driving. And so you start saying, stop. Lord, leave my mind, Lord. Leave my mind. I just want to do this, Lord. Lord, I want to do this. Come on. Leave me alone. Lord, come out of me so my conscience won't work. I don't want my conscience to work right now. I want you to come out of me, God. You stay in the car, God. You sit in this seat, God. No, as a matter of fact, God, sit in the back seat. Sit in the back seat, God. Come, leave me. Don't say nothing. I'm going to turn the radio on, and I'm going to play a song to get me in the mood. I might drink a little bit. I gotta turn the radio up, Lord, stop. I got to get to Maria, Lord. I got to get to Maria. I got to get to Tyrone. I got to get to Tyrone, Lord. I got to get to him. Leave me alone. Be quiet in that back seat, God. Be quiet. I got to turn the radio up louder and louder. I don't want to hear your voice, God. I got to go and get my infidelity on. I got to go and get my adultery on, because it's going to make me feel good. It's going to make me feel good down to the bone. You get there and you do the monkey dance. And it feels so good. Don't, brother and sister, don't never let nobody tell you that sin don't feel good. Don't ever lie to yourself. Sin feel good. It feel good initially. Eve knew about it. Adam knew about it. Whatever that fruit was, it tasted good. It tasted good. Whatever Adam and Eve ate. It don't say what they ate, but it tasted good. Whenever we do something, a lot of times, we feel good about it. We just hope that we don't get caught. So you go there, you go and do your thing. And you feeling good while you're doing your thing. You just feeling good. You just talking to each other. You talking to the other man, the other woman, you feeling good. You just feeling good. You rolling all in the bed with that other person. You just rolling in the bed, doing all kinds of freaky deaky stuff. And it ain't no Freaknik up in Atlanta no more, but you doing the Freaknik with that man or woman, right? And then it's over. It's over. You go your way, brother. She go her way. You in the car. And God start talking to you again, right? You know you did wrong, don't you? You know you did wrong. So you driving, and God, he don't sit in the back seat. He come back and sit in the front seat. Then he jump back. Then you don't want him jumping your body. Let me tell you something. He never left. He never left on your brothers. He never left. So your conscience start working on you. And you start feeling bad. You start feeling bad. What must I do? I know I did wrong, God. I know I did wrong. Your conscience weighing you down. I know I did wrong. And then you pray to God. Lord, help me. I did wrong. I went in that room and I did the monkey dance with that man or woman. We were swinging around and everything. What do I do, Lord? I feel bad. The Lord forgive you. Lord said, I forgive you. Woo! He forgave me. Then Lord said, but you're going to have to pay for what you did. But Lord, I thought you forgive for sin. I do forgive for sin. It's not going to stop you from being with me and my son Jesus. It's not going to stop us. We're going to be together. But guess what? I have a law. And my law say, wherever you sow, you reap. If you plant an apple seed, you're going to get an apple. If you plant a watermelon seed, you're going to get a watermelon. Whatever seed you plant, son or daughter, that's what you're going to get. You sow to the flesh, so you're going to reap from the flesh. But I'm still going to save you, but you're going to get it. It's just like this. Go back to your childhood, my brother and sister. When you did wrong, your parents warned you, right? Your parents warned you. Your parents said, don't do that. If you do that, I'm going to get you. So you get to the point where you think that you could pull some over on your mom and dad, right? You get to that point, right? Your mom and dad said, don't get none of those cookies. Don't get none of those cookies. And you said, yes, ma'am. I ain't no getting on no cookie. They sure look good. Though. That's what your mind's saying. They sure look good. Your mom and daddy go to another room, and you're looking at the cookie. That represents another man or woman. You're looking at the cookie, right? So you look and see your mama or daddy there. You looking. Then you sneak over to the cookie jar. You take the top off. You put your hand in. It's a whole bunch of cookies. You put your hand in. And you put that cookie in your mouth. The cookie taste good. Cookie taste good. Then you hear your mama or daddy coming. Then you put the top on the cookie jar. Put it down. And then that halo that was you think was over your head then start leaning to the left. Your mama or daddy come in there and say, What you doing? I ain't doing nothing. I ain't doing nothing, mama. I ain't doing nothing, daddy. I have a question. Did you eat a cookie? No, I ain't eat no cookie. I didn't eat no cookie. I'm going to ask you again. Did you eat a cookie? Do you remember me telling you not to eat the cookie? Yeah, you told me not to eat a cookie. I ain't eat no cookie. Well, why are those crumbs around your mouth? I don't know. They jumped out the cookie jar and the crumb laying on my lip. That's what happened. That's kind of what Adam and Eve did in the beginning. Okay, since you ate the cookie, remember I told you not to eat the cookie. I love you. I love you, son. I love your daughter. But I want you to go out that back door, go to the tree and get that switch. I want you to tear your own switch. Don't bring me no little switch. Don't bring me no little switch. I want you to go out there and get that biggest switch you can find and you bring it here. Then you still trying to be smart and you want to get a little switch. Go back outside and get a big switch and bring it here. And you bring it. Here go the switch. Here go the switch. What you gonna do? I'm sorry. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. I'm sorry. I ain't gonna do it no more. I ain't gonna do it. I pray I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Then your parent will say, I love you. I love you. And I hate to do this, but I got to do it. Because I told you. I told you not to get the cookie. And you got the cookie. You lied. You lied about getting the cookie. And I love you. But I got to put it to your behind. Now, what I need you to do, I need you to take those pants down. And I want you to bend. I want you to touch that bed and don't move. I won't do it no more. I won't do it no more. I love you. I love you. I love you too. But what I need for you to do is drop those pants. Touch that bed. Or better yet, you lay over my lap. And don't move. Don't even cry. Don't cry. And then they lay it to you, right? And while they laying it to you, you don't think your parent will love you, right? But they laying it to you, right? Bam, 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 bam. But they love you, right? So you grow up thinking that your parent didn't love you. Your parent loved you because they didn't throw you out the house, did they? They still fed you, right? You still had somewhere to sleep, right? They didn't take everything from you. They were showing you love because they were looking down the future because they wanted you to be a better man or a better woman. That's how God does on a spiritual level. God will whip you some kind of way. He will whip you, but he won't throw you away. So that's my point, my brother and sister. If you do wrong, you're going to have to get, God's going to take you to the woodshed. back to infidelity, my brother and sister, the Lord loves you, but there is a consequence. That's the truth, the consequences, right? God is the truth. He will forgive you. But you're gonna get punished. He will give you a warning. You get your warning before you do what you're gonna do. You get your warning. God always let you have your warning. Your consequence, you may lose your husband, sister. Your consequence, you may lose your wife, brother. That's a consequence. God is not going to make him or her stay with you. That's his or her choice. He or she got to decide whether they're going to forgive you or not. How you doing, Sister Diane? They got to decide whether they're going to forgive you or not. But we'll talk about you, brother, and we talk about you, sister. Does God want you to take your mate back after infidelity? From God's point of view, he wants you to. From God's point of view, he wants you to. From a human point of view, it's hard. It's hard from a human point of view. From God's point of view, he wants you to forgive him or her. I know this is not popular when I'm talking about, and I'm not endorsing a man to keep tolerating his wife doing it. I'm not tolerating no woman to tolerate her son for doing it. But guess what, my brother and sister? If your mate does it, or if you do it, you're going to get punished eventually. Because God is warning you. And the more you do it, you're going to start getting comfortable with it, okay? You're going to start getting comfortable, and then your conscience is going to get seared. If you make it a habit, especially if you make it a habit. Sometimes as a child, when you did things, your parents just pop you, right? Sometimes God just pop you. Sometimes your parents used to say, don't go out this house for 2 weeks. Sometimes God would say, I'm going to put you down for 2 weeks. I'm going to take your job or something away. But then he give it back. Just like your parent, when you get in a punishment with your parent, they say, don't go outside for 2 weeks. But when that 2 weeks up, they normally let you out again, right? That's how God do things from a spiritual standpoint. But you're going to pay. You're going to pay. That's how God loves it, brother and sister. If to be truthful with you, my brother and sister, every time we do something, even with this topic that I'm talking about for tonight, infidelity, if God wanted to, it would not be one man or woman alive. God would snuff us out just like that. So realistically, God wants you to take your mate back. He wants you to forgive your husband, sister. I know it's hard. Brother, he wants you to forgive your wife. I know it's hard. It's hard. What I'm talking about tonight, it will be hard. And then when you take them back, God don't want you to bring it up no more. That's right, Sister Yolanda. God don't want you to bring it up to them no more. Just like God don't bring our sins up to us, especially when you go before God when Jesus comes. Jesus is not going to bring one negative thing up against you what you did in the past. Just like that, brother. If your wife did something, you can't keep bringing it up. Once you bring her back, you can't keep bringing that topic up in her face. Sister, the same thing. You can't keep bringing that topic up in her face. You got to operate on a higher frequency, and that's the Spirit of God. And I know this is a tough subject. More women will forgive their husband for infidelity. That's right, mother. More women have a tendency to forgive men for infidelity than men forgive women. Because men have what is called a pride issue. Women have pride too, but women in general, women could tolerate that stuff more than men. How you doing, Sister Bernice? Men can't tolerate it that much. Women can. The only way brother and sister, you can get really past this. You have to have the Spirit of God in your relationship. You have to have it. And you see, there's a phrase that once a cheater is always a cheater. That's not true. In some cases, it can be true. But in all cases, it's not true. Once a cheater, always a cheater. That's not true. But sometimes it is, but not exclusively. Not absolutely. You understand that, my brother and sister? Guess what? Tomorrow night, Lord willing, I got an important topic to talk about. We're going to have some good dinner tomorrow. What I'm going to talk about tomorrow, my brother and sister, is this. It's going to be about a man giving his wife his last name. A man giving a woman his last name. Okay? I'm talking about the real reason a good man from a spiritual standpoint. Why is a man from a spiritual standpoint looking at a woman and he wants to give her his name? And on the flip side, when a woman accepts that man's last name, what does she supposed to do with her maiden name? If a woman take a man's name, if this man is a spiritual man and he giving this woman his last name, should this woman hold on to her maiden name? Or should she take that man name fully? We're going to get in that tomorrow at tomorrow's dinner table, my brother and sister, okay? Thank you all for being here with me tonight, my brother. Thank you for being here tonight with me, my sisters. Peace out.